Beginning in verse 1. In that day, the Lord with his hard and great and strong sword will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, Leviathan, the twisting serpent, and he will slay the dragon that is in the sea. In that day, a pleasant vineyard, sing of it. I, the Lord, am its keeper. Every moment I water it, lest anyone punish it. I keep it night and day. I have no wrath. Would that I had thorns and briars to battle. I would march against them. I would burn them up together, or let them lay hold of my protection. Let them make peace with me. Let them make peace with me. In days to come, Jacob shall take root. Israel shall blossom and put forth shoots and fill the whole world with fruit. Has he struck them as he struck those who struck them? Or have they been slain as their slayers were slain? Measure by measure, you exile, you contend with them. He removed them with his fierce breath in the day of the east wind. Therefore, by this, the guilt of Jacob will be atoned for, and this will be the full fruit of the removal of his sin, when he makes all the stones of the altars like chalk stones, crushed to pieces. No Asherim or incense altars will remain standing, for the fortified city is solitary, a habitation deserted and forsaken like the wilderness. There the calf grazes. There it lies down and strips its branches. When its boughs are dry, they are broken. Women come and make a fire of them, for this is a people without discernment. Therefore, he who made them will not have compassion on them. He who formed them will show them no favor. In that day, from the river Euphrates to the brook of Egypt, the Lord will thresh out the grain, and you will be gleaned one by one, O people of Israel. And in that day, a great trumpet will be blown, and those who were lost in the land of Assyria and those who were driven out to the land of Egypt will come and worship the Lord on the holy mountain at Jerusalem. David?
I want to look at verses 2 and 3. We here have in those two verses another image of the Lord in his vineyard. He describes it as a vineyard of delight. Earlier in Isaiah chapter 5, God describes himself as a vineyard owner, and he's talking about his care for Israel. In John chapter 15, we have this idea of a vine or a vine grower, and God is the vine dresser, and that being Jesus and ultimately by extension us. But I want us to specifically look in verse 3 where it talks about the Lord as its keeper and how he nourishes it and how he protects it. I think about that a lot, and the idea that the Lord's protection is for those who are his. It's for his vineyard, if you will. I think about Psalm 34 and verse 7 where it says, the angel of Jehovah encamps around all those who fear him and deliver them. I take from that just in a kind of a figurative sense that God will not allow his saints to be overwhelmed. We may be going through trial or difficulty, but he ultimately will not see us forsaken and allow us to be overwhelmed by the adversity and trials around us, because he has put limits on those things that come against us. And that's something we ought to take comfort from.
As I look at verse 7, sort of extending off what David said, not only will God not allow those who are our enemies to overwhelm us, God won't overwhelm us. In verse 7, he says, I don't punish you the way those who punished you. Okay? And what he's saying is the people who punish you, the people who went after you, they went after you to destroy you. When God punishes his people, it is always to discipline them. It is always to help them. He only wants the best for us. And I need to remember that. The Hebrew writer in Hebrews chapter 12 reminds us of this, that God's chastening is for our good always. It's not to destroy. When God deals with his enemies, when the time comes that he brings his wrath, it is to punish, to destroy sometimes, because they brought punishment upon themselves, but not God's people. God allows us to go through difficult times, and sometimes he brings difficult times upon us, but it's always for our good. I need to remember that. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Next week, with Thanksgiving holidays taking place, we will not be doing the morning 4-3-2-1, but we'll start back up the following Tuesday. Hope you'll join us back then as we get into chapter 28. Have a great weekend. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday.